Oh, so there's a new trend happening. People are switching from their iPhones to Android. And that's gonna hurt Apple's market share. I mean, I know people are finding iPhones stagnant these days. Even the new iPhone 17 Pro models don't really bring massive upgrades. And you know what the strangest part is? People aren't switching to any Android phone. People are switching to a specific one, the Galaxy Z Fold7. Look, I'm someone who's been using the iPhones on and off, and I switched from the iPhone 16 Pro to the Galaxy Z Fold7 back in July. So I'm like the right person to tell you what do you get, what do you miss, what's so special about the Z Fold7, and if it's actually worth it. Look, unlike an iPhone, which has looked and felt more or less the same in the last several years, the Z Fold is probably the most refined foldable I have ever used. And trust me when I say this has come a long way since we first saw the Fold. Look, I know the earlier Folds were a bit narrow, felt a little weird, honestly a little fragile too, but they've come a long way. I mean, in the case of the Z Fold7, you don't constantly feel like you're using a foldable until you unfold it, of course. It looks and feels like a regular phone. The cover screen is close to a normal display with a 21:9 feel. So while it's not as wide as the Ultra, it still never feels awkward. Even day-to-day usage, I started treating it more like a regular phone, sliding into jeans pocket, taking it out, checking messages, tossing it on the desk, which by the way is funny because this starts disco dancing every time you leave it hanging, kind of like begging for attention. And when you finally give in and open it, this welcomes you with that big screen with thin bezels, which makes you feel like you're holding a thin sheet of glass and still doesn't dig into your palm or something. Kudos to whoever designed this. And both of these screens are beautiful. I mean, most of the time, the cover screen is fine for, payments, photos, maps, but it's when you want to multitask, the inner screen comes in clutch. I mean, you can use Zomato and Swiggy together to find your food faster, Ola and Uber side by side. I generally used Instagram, Amazon and Notes together to find those cool gadgets for you. And yeah, I even watched some reels while, on video calls and meetings. You get the idea. I also watched a lot of movies on this in the flight, and let me tell you, watching on that big screen does show black bars because of this aspect ratio. But yeah, where the Fold really shines is kind of like propping it up. You fold it into a little laptop, watch YouTube or Netflix while you enjoy your food, or take video calls, or use it as a phone stand on your desk. The hinge can hold it at all the different angles, so you just find different ways to use it. And it's all of that with this kind of thickness and weight is a huge win. I mean, this is what will make people switch. When the phone felt very solid in the hands, I did baby it for the first few weeks, and then I felt comfortable, and then I started being careless with it. I used it without a case all this time, and I did get a small scratch on the cover screen for which I got a screen protector later, and thankfully the inner screen is still pretty clean, no scratches or such there. And recently we went to a trip to Goa, and that's when the ultimate durability test started. See, I used it in the rain, it was fine. I used it in the pool without any problem. It's IP48, so it can handle all the water, but yeah, dust not so much. But I carried it on the beach anyways, and I guess some sand did manage to seep into the hinge, which did start to make a faint noise when opening and closing, but that was probably the dust brushes working inside, because after a while it was fine. Anyways, I honestly did all the real world testing, and the phone has no issues. The hinge has no issues, still very tight, and the hinge gap hasn't increased or anything yet. So that was all about what the Fold brings, but how is this as a regular phone? Cameras first. So you already know the specs: 200 megapixel primary, 10 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and the main camera clicks very S25 ultra like photos, lots of detail, pleasing colors, good dynamic range, and yeah, awesome colors and details even in low light. Even the ultra wide angle camera captures good colors, sharpness. Processing is again very similar to the main camera, and even this has good dynamic range. Plus, it has autofocus, so you can click some good macro shots too. And for zoom shots, you get a 3x telephoto that captures good photos in daylight, and it's pretty good in low light too. But sometimes there a bit of noise creeps in. The selfie camera, especially the inside one, is now better than what we've seen earlier. Basically, the inner one has an ultra wide angle lens, the outer is normal. But yeah, the inner selfies just look a tiny bit better to me. But yeah, if you need the absolute best selfies out of this phone, just flip it and use the main camera, which I'd avoid for group selfies as people in the background can blur out due to the shallow depth of field. In which case, just use the ultra wide, so yeah, win-win. And mind you, all 5 cameras can record in 4K 60 FPS, and I captured some very nice videos in Goa, be it from the main camera or the ultra wide in daylight. But yeah, low light videos can be a bit noisy, so keep that in mind. Now, one major difference versus say a regular flagship like the S25 Ultra is the screen brightness. See, it's bright enough outdoors. I use both the screens under the strong sun in Goa. But if you expect S25 Ultra levels of outdoor punch, this isn't that. It dims when it gets warm. Also, there's no built-in anti-reflective coating. Yeah, Samsung sells an anti-reflective film for the cover screen for 1800 rupees, which adds some protection as well. And I like that you get these anti-reflective films for free with the Samsung Fold cases. But yeah, one thing to note is that there's no S Pen support, so if you use that for, signing documents or jotting down notes, yeah, you're gonna miss that. Other than that, really, it works like a normal flagship phone. Speakers are good, not the loudest, but good enough. The haptics aren't the absolute best we've seen, but it was still better than most phones. Absolutely what you could get in a slim chassis. The fingerprint scanner worked almost every single time I wanted it to. Even the network connectivity is just solid. I mean, this was one of the first phones to get on 5G when compared to all of these other phones we were carrying in Goa. And even in, say, remote areas of Goa, this was the phone that had the best connectivity, even when compared to something like the iPhone 16 Pro, and that's saying something. Now, one thing I absolutely love here is the One UI experience. I mean, it has so many features, you're never going to get bored of this phone. I mean, you can customize everything. It's feature-packed as ever. I mean, this secure folder, features like Now Bar, Now Brief, call recording without warning. Galaxy AI features are honestly the best implemented AI on any phone right now. And there's all those Gemini features too. And this is one software that can really take on the iPhone experience. I know iPhones have this really great AI features experience, which works so well. There's the new Siri, which literally kills Gemini, ChatGPT for breakfast. Sorry. Plus, with all the multitasking features and gestures One UI packs, this big screen becomes way more useful. Having said that, not all apps are optimized for the larger screen. Like, see, when I use Myntra on this cover screen, it feels too crammed in. So you'll probably want to use the inner screen, but once you open it, it shows only 2 products on that huge display, and there's just poor use of space. And same with Amazon or Flipkart. And see, when I switch from the cover screen to inner display in something like Myntra, I have to restart the app to make it span across the bigger screen. Now, this problem is only with a few apps right now, but this is just something I noticed in my long-term experience. And this is more of an Android apps problem rather than a Samsung problem, but it is what it is. Anyway, this will get 7 years of Android OS updates, security updates, so that again puts it up and over the iPhones and in line with the Pixels. But what's better than the Pixels is the chipset. I mean, the Snapdragon 8 Elite here is just great. Never for once I thought there'd be something that this phone can't handle. I mean, you can play any game you want to, COD, BGMI, Genshin, Wuthering, etc. Look, I won't get into numbers and FPS tests because none of you would probably buy this for gaming, and this ain't a gaming phone thermal-wise per se, but yeah, you won't get disappointed when you really want to game. And it's not just gaming, all of the other tasks, day-to-day tasks, all the heavy-duty tasks like photo editing, video editing, all of that works pretty easily on the Z Fold. Now, battery is one thing I was concerned about. The 4400 mAh battery isn't too big. I mean, I know Samsung is taking its own sweet time to upgrade the battery tech, and this does show up. I got 4 hours of screen on time with lots of 5G on traveling and watching content on both the inner and the outer screens. And yeah, the inner display consumes a lot of battery, but on moderate usage, I've seen the phone go to 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, which is fine enough. Now, one area where I really hope Samsung does better with the next Z Fold is charging. I mean, this supports 25-watt charging at best and takes 1.5 hours to charge fully, which can be a bit tiring, especially when traveling. Also, yeah, Samsung's lithium batteries have pretty long cycle life, but even if there's degradation after say 4 years, the good thing is you can easily upgrade the battery on this phone. And to give you an idea, the Z Fold7's battery costs 1700 rupees. 1700. In comparison, the iPhone 16 Pro battery costs 12,000 rupees. Yep. See, more than anything, what makes this the perfect phone to switch from an iPhone is the excitement it brings, the innovation it brings. I mean, this is truly cutting edge. And honestly, this is one phone right now which easily gets more attention than any iPhone or, any other phone available in India out there. Well, not so much when it's folded, so introverts don't worry about that, but everyone wants to know what phone it is when you're using it like this. So it has that flex value, and it's not just for the sake of a brand or a logo. It has got the utility for it, of having a convertible phone in your pocket, of working on 4 things at one time, of getting bigger screens for photos and videos, of a form factor you can twist however you want, and all of it without the nuances that you generally see in a fold in terms of durability or size or weight, or the compromises with internals like performance or cameras. So this was my experience with the Galaxy Z Fold7. But yeah, if you still have any more questions on this new Samsung foldable switching from an iPhone, comment down below. I'll answer them. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.